So I'm not usually one to make these prediction videos, but there is literally nothing, and I mean nothing, to talk about. There is also a part of me that is kind of curious to see what I get right and what I get wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, this is way too early NBA predictions. I don't want to waste your time. Let's get started. There are only two teams in the NBA that have a legitimate chance at winning the NBA Finals, and they're both going to come out the West. I think either the Denver Nuggets or the Phoenix Suns are going to be winning the NBA title, and there is no in between. If I'm a team in the Western Conference, I am fucking scared of the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets just won their first championship with not only Jamal Murray healthy, but Nikola Jokic healthy. Hell, everybody was healthy, which just tells us that Denver has had potential for years, but unfortunately they couldn't tap into that potential because of injuries. The only move that is a little bit concerning is them losing Bruce Brown, but other than that, most of the team is coming back, and I expect them to be just as good, if not better. I expect Jamal Murray to become a perennial top 15 player, maybe come to a top 10. I doubt it though. I think Nikola Jokic is once again going to be playing like an MVP candidate, and overall, I think Denver is here to stay. I do think if there's any team that has a great championship, a repeating of the last like 5 years, I think Denver is that team. And on the other side, we have the Phoenix Suns. I think the Phoenix Suns had one of the best off seasons you could have asked for, and I do think the addition of Bradley Beal is going to help them out. Now, of course, I do have some concerns for this team, like for example, how is the bench going to play? How is Kevin Durant going to adjust? Is Booker still going to be the #1 option? What about Bradley Beal? There's no way he's going to still be a 30 points per game scorer. Now, on my podcast, The Starting Five, we talked about the Suns for a while, and I did say I believed that this team was going to struggle for the first 20 to 30 games of the season. I expect them to not exactly be in a groove just yet, but if the team can play together, if they're healthy during that time, I think they're going to be just fine moving forward. I think the worst this team is going to be is maybe a 4 seed, but at best, I see them being the 1 or 2. And by the end of the season, I don't see any situation where they fall under the 2 seed unless they deal with a significant injury like they did with Kevin Durant and even Booker during the season. Now, of course, there are many strengths we can talk about, but I've already done that in a video. But the point I guess I'm trying to make is that Denver and Phoenix, in my personal opinion, have the best chance to win the title. And if you had to ask me right now, I'm probably going to say Denver, just because Denver looks like a fucking juggernaut of a team. The Golden State Warriors are done. Their team is no longer going to be good, and I think there's a legitimate chance they barely make the playoffs, and the only way they make it is the play-in. I understand having Steph Curry is always going to give you a chance, which is why I didn't completely rule them out of actually making the playoffs. But I do think that this team is at a breaking point, and I think the moment that they decided to ruin the progression of this team was trading Jordan Poole. I get it, getting Chris Paul is a move you want to make, but the Warriors were the one team where I didn't think it made any sense whatsoever to trade for Chris Paul. I'm struggling to find why the Warriors just didn't try to build off last season and maybe try to just get better pieces. Like, at least in the depth, you didn't need to tinker with the starting lineup. As a matter of fact, if you were going to trade someone in the starting lineup, why didn't you trade Draymond Green? You know, the fucking problem of the team. I saw people talking about the Jordan Poole trade, and Draymond was one of them, and he said something like, yeah, you know, we're going to miss him, and it sucks he got traded. Motherfucker, you're the reason he got traded. The franchise had to choose between Jordan Poole and Draymond Green, and ultimately they chose Draymond Green. Now, of course, Draymond is the typical Warrior. He is the person you want to represent your franchise in some situations, but I do think them trading Jordan Poole, and I'm going to say this for the millionth time, this ruined the progression of this team going forward. There was a quote that came out last year, and I think either Steve Kerr or Steph Curry said it, but they said that essentially when the big three of the Warriors retire, that they're going to have guys like Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga and James Wiseman replace those guys. And in theory at the time, it sounded like a great plan. However, Jordan Poole got traded, James Wiseman got traded, and come bucket comes more than he actually makes buckets. So that plan that they had essentially flopped after less than a year, and I'm not going to point fingers at anyone, but there were some people to blame. Now, we're not talking about the future though, we're talking about the present. We're talking about this upcoming season that starts in a couple months. But that's the whole issue. Getting rid of these young guys did nothing for you, and not only did it ruin the future, it ruined the present. Because if Steph Curry gets injured, then this team is fucking cooked. They're done. They're probably not making the playoffs if Steph gets injured for a long period of time. Oh, an NBA nerd? Yeah, Ja Grant? Yeah, I'm talking to you. You're probably watching this right now. I am talking to you. Your team is fucking cooked. They're done. And while we're on the topic of cooked, let's talk about the Boston Celtics. I am not confident in the Celtics whatsoever to win an NBA title with a core of Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Now, this is one of those takes where it could age like fucking milk, which I do expect it to, but not this season. I think signing Jaylen Brown for the bag that the Celtics did was not the best move they could have made. Now, I have my own reasons reasons on why I think this happened, but I'm sorry, Jaylen Brown, someone who's not even a top 10, maybe not even top 15 player, was not deserving of that contract. But this video is not talking about the contract necessarily. We're here to talk about the Boston Celtics as a core. More importantly, we're talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Can this franchise win with these two players as the core players? And the answer is no. I don't think Tatum is ready just yet to be a leader on a finals contending team. Now, given that he's 25, I do think he still has time to develop. I mean, we have 2 years until he enters his prime. But my concern is not with Jason Tatum, and quite frankly, it has never been my concern. My concern is Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown is a great player. I think he is a great scorer, and I do think when Tatum struggles, Brown is sometimes there to fix things for the team. On the contrary of that though, what I saw in this year's playoffs was some of the most egregious shit I've ever seen. There have been times where Jason Tatum struggles, and I understand that, but we're not going to act like Jaylen Brown did not also have some of the worst ball handling I've ever seen. I mean, 66 turnovers in 2 rounds of basketball is fucking crazy. But even if we completely just ignore this last playoff run, I don't think Brown is good enough to be the second option on a championship winning team. Now, if the Celtics got another star player, for example, when Damian Lillard could have possibly went to Boston, then yes, I think the Celtics become instant contenders, and Jaylen Brown is arguably the best third option in the NBA. But most reports are saying right now that Dame is either not leaving the Blazers or he's going to Miami. In fact, he has constantly said he only wants to go to Miami. So yeah, Celtics fans are in fucking shambles right now. Now, but all jokes aside, I'm not confident in the Celtics winning the title, and honestly, I think this next season is going to be very telling, because either Boston is going to fall flat on their face once again, and we're all going to laugh at them for giving Jaylen Brown $300 million, or this team is going to prove me and a lot of other people wrong. Now, this one is specifically about a player, and this might be the craziest one I have, but there is a legitimate possibility that Rudy Gobert is a consistent 35% three-point shooter this year. Now, I hate going off workout videos. I think in my entire YouTube career, I've made one video based off a workout video, and if you're wondering, it was about Kyle Kuzma. I know. Now, normally I would chalk up these workout videos to just that, but Rudy Gobert for the past couple months has been consistently working on shooting the ball. If you guys didn't know right now, FIBA basketball is currently going on at the time of me recording this, and actually in a game he did hit a 3-point shot. Now, do I think his form could use some work? Yes, but because he's a big man and not necessarily a stretch 5, I don't know if he can switch his form to shoot well like a stretch 5, because obviously he's not going to shoot like a guard. He has really long arms, so he needs to adjust the way he shoots, and I don't know if this is necessarily going to translate in the NBA. This is only FIBA and some workout videos, but I'm not gonna lie, if Gobert can be a consistent 35% three-point shooter, which is around the average give or take, I do think the Wolves are going to be a very interesting team to watch. I mean, the spacing on that team is going to be absolutely insane. Now, of course, this is way too early to make these predictions, but that's the beauty of this video. I am interested to see what happens about a year later when I visit this video and see what I got right. Hopefully it is the Suns winning a championship, because god damn it, we need one in Phoenix, man. And actually, if you want to hear me talk about the Phoenix Suns more on my podcast, The Starting Five, we dropped an episode last week where we did talk about the Phoenix Suns and if they were a super team or not. We also talked about the Kai Cenat drama. We talked about the 2K ratings and so much more.